Well, let's now get back to our developing story of the 2025 budget estimate presented by President Bola Tinubu. Joining us for more perspectives on this is founder and CEO of RTC Advisory Services Limited, Agbaje. Good to have you join us on TVC News at 10. Let's start with the entire budget figure. Very ambitious, as everyone says. What do you make of the spending plan compared to what we had in 2024?
Well, yes, it's ambitious. It's bold in the character of the president. But again, we must remember that tangible value of spending measured in dollars, which invariably represents the real value of spending, is somewhere around $30 billion almost steadily. So if you discount the devaluation of the currency and if you measure the figures in dollars, which is a strategy I commend, trying to keep the real value of spending stable or moderately growing in spite of devaluation and inflation. So yes, in Naira, it's bold, it's big, it's even a growth in dollar terms. But it's not an astronomical increase if you convert the figures into US dollars.
All right. And talking about sectoral allocations to some specific sectors of the Nigerian economy, what exactly is your reaction to the focus on security and defense, education, infrastructure, health, among others?
I would say that those are brilliant, in my view, selection of areas to focus on. Security, obviously, we know of the impact of security even on agricultural sector production. We know of that on the cost that we found, for instance, people pay in terms of paying ransoms. If that had been channeled into investment, it would make a tangible impact on the investment scenario in the country. And the perception of the outside world to developments in Nigeria. So yeah, security is a no-brainer. The president has allocated almost 5 trillion naira, huge, to the security sector. The other 3 sectors are also compelling: infrastructure, health, and education. Infrastructure, 4.06 trillion. We need, obviously, to scale up infrastructure in the country, transform much of our spending. The president mentioned in his speech the 2 legacy projects he's embarked on: the Lagos-Calabar and the Sokoto-Badagry Expressway highways, and all the other constructions going on in the country. So yes, that's fitting. And then human capital, made up of education and health. So both of which had around 2.4 for health and 3.5 for education. I think these are acceptable or even compelling priorities for policy.
All right. But then you'll agree that implementation is very important. What will you say about Nigeria's budget performance in recent times?
Let me focus on 2024. The president spoke a little bit about it. It's been a pleasant departure from the past. On the revenue side, 75% performance of the budget. On the expenditure side, 85% performance of the budget as of the 3rd quarter of 2024, which we're still in. Which means that if we project to the end of the year, those percentages may even be higher. More importantly, apart from the strict percentage performance, more importantly is that a lot of achievements have been recorded. And I say this, incidentally, I was in your studios, this same channel, on Monday afternoon, talking about 7 or 8 early signs of economic recovery that I saw as of Q3 2024. And the president affirmed all of those areas of improvement. I suspect, and now there are multiple signs of that we're at an inflection point and that we may just be about to turn the corner. So I would say that the implementation, not just of the budget, but of policy, difficult decisions, hard decisions, painful decisions, but I think they're now beginning to bear fruits.
All right. And finally, let's look at the ongoing reforms as instituted by the federal government. You've, inferred some of them now. We're getting some positive feedbacks with figures coming through. Going forward, what should Nigerians expect?
Well, like I said, it's useful to emphasize GDP growth for 3 quarters in a row, getting to 3.46, FX reserves crossing $40 billion. When I spoke on Monday, it was $40 billion. Of course, we expected that by the time we had this oversubscribed euro bond proceeds of $2.2 billion, and the president correctly mentioned $42 billion. Many others, I mean, oil production, ramping up, trade surpluses, becoming very consistent. So I think we're finally on to a good thing. The two main areas in which policy must focus, and the president indeed expressed very bold targets for both of those. Inflation, the president wants to get it down from 34.6 to 15. That would be an ambitious achievement if it is. It's going to be difficult. And the exchange rate, the president wants to stabilize at 1,500 naira to the dollar.
Yes.
Those two in particular, and then of course get oil production up to 2 million barrels per day. If we do achieve those three, then the average Nigerian will begin to feel some relief. Inflation has to come down. The exchange rate has to stabilize, hopefully around that 1.5 or less, and then Nigerians can breathe a bit easier.
All right, Mr. Agbaje, it's a good way to end the conversation. Founder and CEO, RTC Advisory Services Limited, Okwemi Agbaje, thank you so much for your time on TVC News at 10.
Thank you very much.